I'm Kevin Bowe. Welcome to DIY 360. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. This is my pal, Chris Koza.
Hey, guys.
I've known Chris for quite some time now, at least 3 or 4 years, and I think before we met, I was already a fan of his music from hearing it on The Current, and I just always have my ears open for people whose reputation is based on songwriting, and I think that's kind of, if people like your music, it's because they like your songwriting. That's kind of what you do. That's your thing, and I picked up on it right away. And so let's turn off our cell phones. Unless you have a Chris Koza ringtone, then you can keep your phone on. This guy does a huge business in ringtones, don't you? Yeah. So anyway, let's get some background information. Why don't you get up on that 58 and tell me where are you were born? Are you born and raised in Portland, or?
Yeah, Portland, Oregon.
And how old were you before you left Portland?
I was 17 when I left. I wanted to leave the state to go to college. And at the time, I really wanted to get out to New York, get out to Boston, get out somewhere on the East Coast. I didn't even know that the Midwest existed. And
you ran out of gas and then just kind of said, "Oh well, I'm here."
This looks fine. I went to St. Olaf College down in Northfield.
Oh.
And I had this sense that it was going to be this great music and business school, and because that's what I wanted to study. And I went down there, and it's great in both those things, but it's not the kind that I was expecting. You know, I guess I was thinking of it more as like an IPR or something. Like I'm going to learn how to record. It's more of a
liberal arts.
It's a liberal arts college, so yeah. it ended up being a really great experience.
But it's a smarty pants college. You can't. I mean, they don't let any dummies into Carleton or St. Olaf, right? I mean, it's pretty smart kids there.
They do have a quota that they try to achieve of various people from different states going to their school, so I feel like I kind of snuck in. Like, we need 6 Oregonians this year. Let's let this fella in. He seems like he's harmless.
That's funny. So they didn't know you then.
No.
How old were you when you first picked up? Did you first pick up a guitar or piano? Guitar?
I first picked up my first instrument was a piano. I was really young. I was in kindergarten, and my kindergarten teacher came in and played the entertainer on the piano, and I was amazed that somebody could do that. And so not too long thereafter, I convinced my parents to give me piano lessons.
And how long did you take piano lessons?
From like 1st grade through 8th grade. I was really interested at first, and then my interest sort of tapered off a little bit, mainly because I felt like I was playing all this classical music that I never would listen to outside of playing piano. It was disconnected from what my interests were and social interests were.
What were the first records you heard on pop radio or whatever? What was the thing that happened that made you like, you know, most of us in this room have had that eye-opening moment where, you know, you hear something. Hopefully you have several of them in your musical development, but what was the first one for you? Or the first records you heard that made you think, I want to do this?
Well, the first records I heard were just fun. I mean, when you're a kid and you listen to music, you bounce around in that little kid way. And if you like music, then you start listening to it more. And if you don't, then you just, I don't know, then you don't. But my parents had a very limited record collection. My dad had Moody Blues and Barbra Streisand and a few other things. So it was perplexing to listen to music at home. I appreciated that.
What's perplexing about which Babs? There'll be no Babs
the Send in the
bashing
Clowns
in here.
Album.
Which one?
Send in the Clowns.
Oh, she kills that song.
She's good.
She owns it.
Like, so I got to listen to real orchestral kind of pop music when I was growing up, and that's kind of what I do now.
Yeah.
It's stuff that's more thematically based, and there's a lot of instrumentation in the songs. And
you are like a male Gentile Barbra Streisand in your way.
I hope that I can quote you on that.
You can. I hope you do. So how about when you started like finding your own way in music, in pop music? What were some of the first records you bought that were your touchstone?
Well, I feel like that there was a division between the stuff I listened to because it was on the radio and I felt like I needed to like it, and then the stuff that I really gravitated towards because it spoke to me. Like I would buy Boys to Men and Onyx and Vogue, and I loved that music. I thought it was so great, but I wouldn't, when I was like playing music, those weren't the songs I would play. I had an uncle who gave me like a Love and Spoonful, gave me the Hollies, and gave me the Beatles, and I thought that was pretty great, and I appreciate all kinds of music for what it is. I had to play a Toby Keith song last week, and I appreciate parts of that song too.
Had to, like, gun to your head?
Essentially.
Care to elaborate, or is that?
Well, I was at Wits at the Fitzgerald Theater, and I was playing there, and for some reason we had to sing, "Let's talk about me, let's talk about I, let's talk about number
That's
one."
not even his best song.
It isn't. People didn't know it.
Beer for My Horses, I think, is one of his pieces that reached inside me. Anyways, enough about Toby Keith. I woke up today and I was like, I'm not going to focus on Toby Keith all day like I always do.
That's what happens.
And here we are.
When you put something out in the universe, it'll come back at you.
Yeah, totally. So the Hollies, do you think listening to the Hollies influenced the way you structure your vocal harmonies now?
It's hard to say anything specific about I took this tendency from that place, but I have no doubt that when I was mowing lawns every summer and listening to my Walkman and all these cassette mixtapes and stuff, that is the foundation of what influenced me as a songwriter. Was
there anything going on in the local scene in Oregon that you picked up on before you left the state?
Well, there was this band called the Dandy Warhols that was starting to get a little popular. I left Oregon in 1997, and Elliott Smith was around, but I didn't know much about those guys because there wasn't the same radio outlet there at that time as there is here now with the Current. So there wasn't any like local music radio station. There was college radio stations, but that was a little more fragmented.
And this was Portland, not Portlandia.
Right, Portlandia is now.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, this is not the dream of the 90s. This is the actual 90s.
It was more of a hippie town back then, right? Wasn't I toured when the last time I toured and went through Portland? It was several years ago. It was also before Portlandia, and I remember thinking, this is a granola town.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah,
the whole state is, but
a lot of heroin though too.
Portland doesn't discriminate.
I mean, you can see, dudes walking down the street. It's like there's meth towns and heroin towns. Meth towns like like this, and then heroin towns like, yeah. And it gave me a vibe. I definitely got a vibe that it was a big heroin town. Heroin's not funny.
I'd like to go on tour with you so I can get your assessment of what every city is.
Oh, it's like radar. I've got drug radar. I'm like a drug sniffing dog, only a dude. I'm like a drug sniffing dude.
Kevin, we need you down here at the airport.
Yeah, very useful. Yeah. So when you moved here to go to college, to go to St. Olaf?
Yeah.
And so you were 2 years or 4 years down there?
It was a 4-year school.
So you didn't drop out, you graduated.
I did. I really wanted to leave after my sophomore year, but my parents convinced me that I should just stay. And I also wasn't motivated to try to see what would happen if I had dropped out.
Yeah.
I wasn't motivated to see, like, well, can I get back in, like, after a semester? Can I take a semester off? Is it going to affect my financial aid? Is it going to affect my...
That's a tough one.
All that kind of stuff. And I just figured I might as well keep going.
That's when I dropped out of college to pursue my punk rock band more closely. And although things worked out in the end, there was a few years there where I was definitely like, boy, I should have finished college, just because, I mean, you get out of college and all of a sudden you're like, work.
Oh, yeah.
Money. Ugh. And I didn't have a lot of student loan debt though, because college was super cheap back then when I was in college. So what did you graduate in? What was your degree in?
I got a degree in philosophy and studio art.
Oh, cool.
And so I did take music theory classes and performed in a jazz ensemble and in a choir down there. All the musicianship down there is like borderline virtuosic. It's insane, and I didn't feel like it was my place to create a niche, because I wasn't that kind of a musician. I wasn't an operatic singer. I wasn't a Nels Cline on the guitar or anything. I'm just a guy that wanted to write some pop songs and learn how to record them.
Were you writing? You were writing?
Yeah, I was writing a lot of horrible songs that I hope you never hear. And And at the time, I decided I wanted to take classes that would give me different ways of looking at subject matter. So that's why I wanted to do a philosophy class, because I figure, well,
Learning to think differently.
yeah, if I can write a song about a chair, how many different ways can I write that song?
Right.
And the visual arts I wanted to do because I felt like I wanted to make my own posters and my own CD artwork and that kind
So
of
that
stuff.
stuff seeped into your
Mm-hmm.
music. Yeah, I remember I was an English major, and that definitely seeps into my lyric writing. So did you do any gigging, any solo acoustic singer-songwriter things when you were down
I did some stuff like that, but pretty much right away when I got to college, I met some people to play music with, and we formed a band. And so we had we recorded at the Terrarium way back when it was on Washington.
I recorded
That was like in 90,
an album there.
99. Like
I loved that
99.
terrarium. I love the terrarium now even more, but that
Yeah.
terrarium was cool.
It was cool. I mean, we were way out of our league. We should not have been in there recording.
Were you with Jason or with Brian Hanna?
We were with Dave Gardner.
Oh, nice. I love Dave.
Yeah.
Did he have the stash?
He was
then?
very patient with us. Of course, he had the stash.
Nice.
It was epic.
Yeah, real dashing, I think is the word.
Yeah, it was like
swashbuckler.
if the Lone Ranger moved to a city.
Yeah, I think he did. So what was the name of that band, or was it just Chris Koza?
I don't want to tell you.
I'll play a game with you, should you care to play a game.
Sure.
My first band where I named the band has a worse band name than yours and way more embarrassing, and I'll show you mine if you show me yours. You'll feel really good about yourself. You're about to feel really good about yourself.
All right, I'll put that proverbial raincoat on.
Okay? My band was called Summer of Love.
It's not that bad.
Seriously? Can you imagine the grief we took off of like rockin' tough bands? Summer of Love.
Well, I guess contrasted with your rock dude image, that's not very good.
No, I was super rock dude. I was like all Paisley. We were part of the the Paisley revival, Echo and the Bunnymen, Psychedelic Furs.
Oh, yeah.
I remember we opened for Rain Parade
Well,
at
it's kind
7th
of like
Street
a
Entry.
50s, 60s psychedelic
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
name.
60s, yeah. And the guys in Rain Parade made fun of our name, and I'm like, you're called Rain Parade. That's even a sissier name than, well, Ty. So what was yours?
It's very, very sissy. It's Catnapping was the name.
Catnapping.
That's terrible.
No.
Summer of Love is an actual thing. It's like, this is the Summer of Love. Catnapping is nothing.
Catnapping is a real thing, too. Excellent point. One of our
there's an episode
banner
of
students here.
Portlandia where there's a band called Catnap. And I saw this. I'm like, why did that happen?
That's great.
we were there already.
Did this record come out that you did at Terrarium?
Yeah, I put it out. We put it out. It was back in '99 when we put it out. Called
And
Drowning in a Cola Sea. That was the name of the album.
Drowning in a Polish sea?
Cola.
Cola sea. Okay.
Yeah, a thing that doesn't actually exist, like a Polish sea.
And was this, oh, I'm not going to do, there's such an easy
We
joke.
can go
there.
down
It's just
memory lane.
too-
We're
yeah.
already there. We're
No,
just
no. I was
frolicking.
going to tell a stupid joke, but I'm not going to. So was this your band? Were you the leader of the band and you were writing the songs? And
Well, I would come up with some of the song ideas, but it was a fairly collaborative sort of band where I'd come up with an idea. It's like, oh, how should we get to this next section? What should the next section be? Let's have a rock out section. Let's have a bridge here. Let's have a second bridge. And the songs would just, they'd be like this like mutated sort of basketball where like instead of a perfectly round sphere, it was like, it would have these like things jutting out of it, little air bubbles.
So it was rather than, because now your approach is definitely more organic. You know what I mean? As
Yeah.
far as your songwriting and your production.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell it's not like a band that gets in the studio together and like, let's jam out our parts, man, and then we'll press the red button.
Yeah.
It's obviously, it's well conceived and kind of, are any of those people that were in that band in your play with you
Yeah.
now? Really?
Yeah, the guitar player and the drummer. I still play
Cool.
with them. I mean, it was fun. We rehearsed all the time, and we really enjoyed making the music that we made.
And
it's
you were
just
playing in
hard for me to
clubs
listen
here?
to it now. We played at the 400 Bar a few times. We played at the Fine Line. We played at where else did we play? There used to be this place in the West Bank or the East Bank called the Borealis. It's where Burrito Loco is now. And there's probably a couple other places we played. But it's interesting because gigs that we played with that band way back then, there's still some people who will come and see us now, and they're like, "Hey, play that one song."
You guys were way better back then. Oh, I love that. The fan who's been with you for a long time and wants to prove how he's a deeper fan than all the other fans. So it's like, I was at a Neil Young show once, and it's a solo show. It's at the State or the Orpheum, and the crowd started getting into a contest to who could yell out the most obscure song. And Neil finally said, "Hold it, hold it, hold it. Everyone shut up. The thing you got to understand is there's a reason those are obscure." I thought, yes. So after what happened, what was the shift between that band and you just being Chris Koza like you are now, or Rogue Valley?
We had put out a couple albums as Catnapping, and we liked it. And then after college, it was kind of our college band. We took a little bit of a breather, and we wanted to go a little bit of a different musical direction. So we had this band called The Channels, and we that was more like prog pop rock kind of stuff, and it was really fun. But still, the emphasis was on us getting together and kind of achieving the form and the groove of a song together. So it was like a lot of cooks in the kitchen, but not a menu that made sense.
It's funny how a lot of younger bands, now that you mention it, are more like that. Like songwriting is a more band process, but then I don't see as much of that unless it's a jam band type of situation. In bands where people are in their maybe late 20s or whatever, like people who have crossed the point where they're probably going to be doing music for the rest of their lives, then it usually, not always, but doesn't it seem like it usually morphs into like a singer-songwriter bringing a conceived piece to the band?
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of bands are doing it these days.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I was done with democracy at 27. I was like, no more. No more. Benevolent dictatorship, enlightened
Kevin.
despot, whatever. But, you know, I thought that the songs needed, in my case anyway, needed to come from one place rather than, you know.
Yeah, and I didn't know that at the time. I just, naturally, I started writing different kinds of songs. Because I started to play some solo music here and there, like at coffee shops. I'm like, this song is impossible to play, just me. It's missing so much because it depends highly on other musicians being here. But we aren't doing shows together, so what should I play? And that's when I started writing more solo-based songs that didn't seem to be empty if it was just me and a guitar.
Right. And you do a lot of solo touring, too, nationally, right? You hop in the car.
Yeah. The last year I've done some dates with an artist named Stephen Kellogg, and we did a lot of Midwest and East Coast dates. And then I did some dates with Tiff Merritt this spring.
Right. That's cool. I like her.
She's really great.
Plus, was Noah playing drums with her during that tour?
Yep. So that was seeing a friendly face out there.
Plus, she's a sweetie pie, right?
I've
met her a couple times. She seemed really nice.
She's so nice.
Why don't you play us one of the songs, your favorite song that you did on that tour?
Sure.
All right.
All right.
One thing I notice about your writing is that you use a lot of geographical references.
Well, then this song will not disappoint.
I actually listened to the words.
You know, that would explain why we're not hearing nothing.
Damn roadies.
Just trying to conserve my 9-volt power. So this is a song. It's gone by a couple different titles since I've written it. I wrote it back in the first version of it back in New York City when I was living there for a few months in 2007 during the summer, which is just an abysmal time to live in New York City.
It smells bad.
Oh man, you can't catch a break unless you like go into like the Gucci department store or something. Then they're like, please leave.
Yeah.
But I think this song's gonna be called "Never Thought I." Maybe not, but that's what I'm thinking right now. Never thought I was a gambling man. I lost enough to know that I am. And I will never again put good loving on the line. I lost enough to know when something used to be mine. Oh, little child,
Little child, come close to me. Underneath the starry harvest sky, don't let the days go by, left to wonder why you're always one more step away. Never thought I was a Midwesterner, a Rose City son, a desert child, or maybe a New Yorker. But I know the Mississippi better than the Hudson or the Gorge, and Death Valley is no kind of place to forge. Oh, little child, come close to me. Underneath the spinning ceiling fan, ooh, let me be your man. I swear I got a plan. I'm only one more step away. Never thought I was a romantic, crazy ass water on the brain, or an outright lunatic. But I know I trust my heart better than my head, for how often a sure thing is misled. Oh, little child, oh, the dawn, the sun has come. Don't let the days go by, left to wonder why you're always one more step away. Never thought I was a gambling man. I lost enough to know that I am, and I will never again put good loving on the line. I lost enough to know when something used to be mine. Oh, I lost enough to know when something used to be mine. Well, I lost enough to remember when you were mine.
I have never heard you pick like that. It's funny you were talking about Loving Spoonful, because that song has a little of that folk jazz.
What a day for a daydream.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like there's some of that in there, and also the kind of the ragtiminess of the picking and stuff is from that time period. That's great. That's fantastic. So, geographical places in your songs. Do you actually write when you're touring on the road?
Sometimes I do, but
The Lonely Hotel Room?
Generally, when I come back and I'm thinking about what to write about, I mean, all those latent hours spent traveling or just waiting for something seem to suddenly have some valuable currency.
Yeah, I can tell in your songs, because obviously you've been a lot of places with the touring and stuff like that, and going to live in New York City. By the way, what was that about? What was? I'm just gonna go. Did you have a free flop there or something, or what possessed you?
She's my wife now, but my girlfriend at the time. She was finishing up a semester studying in New York City, and then she decided that she would stay there over the summer, and we had only been together for like a year and a half at that time. I'm like,
you were like, we're gonna go out there and see what's up.
Yeah, we should be together.
Yeah.
if we're gonna do this.
And I guess it paid off.
Copious dividends.
That's nice.
But it was fun. We were out there for like 4 or 5 months.
Well, that is kind of a rarity in our line of work. You've been together for how long?
We met about 8 years ago.
8 years. I mean, I always say I've been with the same person for 25 years, and I always say in music, that's like marriage is like dog years. So really, we've been married for like 143 years, because nobody stays together, in the music business. Everyone's like, oh yeah, well, James Brown writes about it in his autobiography, because he was married 96 times, and he says, my problem was my road wives couldn't get along with my home wives. I'm like, yeah. Women, what are you gonna do? So that's something that I think it's an accomplishment. But you said your wife is an artist as well.
Yeah, she just finished a grad program at the U.
So tell me what you're working on now. I mean, we have a session. I teach AP 282 in Master Mix here on Tuesdays, and we've done quite a bit of work together. We must have done, I don't know, we've done 3 or 4 sessions together and stuff like that. And we've got one tomorrow. So You're getting a lot of me this week. I
It's a good
apologize
thing.
in advance.
It's a good thing.
But the studio's
I've
great.
been dieting for a long time, so now I can take a.
Here I am. So why don't you tell these guys and me, what are we doing tomorrow, and what's this for? What's this record about? Is it a Koza record? Is it a Rogue Valley record?
Well, so we were talking earlier about how early stages of these bands would kind of come together and sort of collaborate on some ideas. I wanted to. I've been really interested in working on my collaborative process with other people, whether that's through songwriting or just like jamming, or just like playing music. And sometimes it can be difficult to get into a room and just break through that awkwardness, because that's not how I've been used to doing it. Like for the last several years, I'd sit in my room and I like come up with a song that I like.
Plus, this town, this music scene is not known for that like Nashville is.
Yeah, people just getting together and like
hey, let's write a song.
For 5 hours.
Let's have a cup of coffee.
Or that, yeah. And so I wanted to do a better job, and I thought that the best way would be to have an album to work on with a couple people that I like. And so it's the same drummer that I've used, or that I've worked with for a long time. But I think sometimes he feels a little underappreciated in the other projects that we work on together. And so I wanted this to be a forum where everybody could have equal input in terms of how the song started, and that's how we.
This sounds like democracy. I'm very
it's
uncomfortable.
Scary. Try not to come down too hard on us tomorrow.
The drummer will walk in. I'll be like, I don't want to hear a peep out of you. You shut your pie hole.
You know you're a drummer, right?
No.
You get back there and you watch some butts.
We're lucky we let you hang out with musicians.
Drummers get it back.
There's a million of them. Drummers always get the short end of the stick. Get it? Huh? You like that? Yeah, I just made that up. Anyway,
so we achieved this song.
who else are you collaborating with?
It's a guy named Evan Beaumont, and the two of them, they played in a band together called the Alpha Centauri. They used to do some shows around town, kind of like space rock. I don't know exactly how to classify it. So they had played together, and then I'd played together with Luke, but the three of us hadn't done it. And so we got together over a couple of nights, and we just played for like 4 or 5 hours, and we had a bunch of cell phone demos, and then we kind of scoured them and found some parts that we liked, and then we got together and we like played them again, and then I took them and I structured them into like pop song kind of formats, and then we've been working on them over the last couple months to try to refine them, where we can find a balance between the spontaneity and the ambiguity of instrumental songs with more of an organized blueprint of a pop song.
Right. That can be a tough.
Yeah, I mean, as we've been finalizing things or progressing things to come into the recording session, that's when we've been butting heads just a little bit. I mean, it's been great. I want to emphasize that, but there's just a couple of spots where like I want to do this thing and somebody else wants to do this thing, and so then we have to solve it. Like humans working together should solve it, and that's through.
I have never experienced humans. What was that?
Well, I was just going to tell you, we solve it with leg wrestling matches.
Leg wrestling. Hopefully not tomorrow. Anyways.
Clear spot. Put a mic on this.
I can just see the students. Oh, no. I'm up for it.
How's everybody doing? Good.
How about what time is it? How much time do we have left? Let's do another song and then ask questions. You guys think up some questions. What time do we have? 3:30. Okay, we got half hour. Cool. You want to do another song and then
sure.
You guys ask some questions? Save up your probing, deeply personal, revealing, embarrassing questions.
I'm going to do another song that's kind of about, that I wrote while traveling, while the band was on tour. We were in Salt Lake City, and Wilco was playing with the Fleet Foxes opening.
Cool.
And we had a day off, and we couldn't get tickets because it was sold out, but the way that the amphitheater was set up, there's a hill that you could sit on, you could see down there. I mean, it was really far away. And whenever the wind was blowing the right direction, you could hear it perfectly, but most of the time it was like in and out.
The cheap seats.
Yeah. It was really fun though, and I started to think about this little melody crept in my head, and I sang it throughout the rest of the tour. And then a few years later, when I was working on the Rogue Valley songs, I found a home for it. This is a song called Mountain Laurels.
western edge of Highway 1. Ooh, to the east of Appalachia. Ooh, I got my ticket, baby, here I come. Following the crows and colors towards September. A promise written with a nervous hand, with the stroke of a nervous pen, bottled up and buried in the sand. Castles built and taken under, gone without a trace. Ooh, watch the clouds along the coastal range. Ooh, through the desert and the empty space. Ooh, in Pennsylvania you can almost taste the mountain laurels. When I lay these flowers on this grave and do the math to find the final age. Ooh, oh, I think of all the different ways. Darling, don't be long in waiting. The locks and every window breaking. The darkness won't be long in taking you.
Thank you.
Who's got a question for Chris Koza here? There's one. Do you write the lyrics? I got to repeat the question so we get it on the video feed. Do you write, your question is, when you write a song, do you write the lyrics or the music first?
It seems like the last few years I try to write both of them at the same time if I can. This song was challenging because I had the guitar stuff worked out first, and I had a melody worked out, and I had this vision in my mind of what the song should articulate, and it was difficult to achieve that in lyrical form. I don't think it matters too much to me which way the song happens, but I like trying to move it along at the same pace, and then like maybe I'll get through a verse and a chorus, and then I just keep starting over from the beginning until I can push it a little bit further.
Exactly, that's exactly what I do. Hopefully, as you play the song, it'll tell you what comes next.
Yeah.
If you keep on starting over and over and over. But I drive my wife crazy because she's like, "You've played the first half of that song 30 times in a row."
Great C chord.
Yeah. Really got that down. Do you usually start with a title?
No. Sometimes I start with the title. I like to start with a concept. I feel like when I'm writing lyrics, if I have a title concept, even if that changes later, then it really helps me to hone in and recognize, the parameters of what the song should include.
But more often an idea rather than a strict title first?
So many times I've had strict titles, and I just can't write the song, like a dinosaur stomping or something. Like I can't write that song. I want to convey that idea in a song, but I don't know how to do it.
I feel like I have the opposite issue. If I start without a title and I write a verse, then I feel like I'm painted into a corner. It's like, well, whereas if I start with, I usually have a title.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what the song is about. I just hear someone say something or I read something and I go, yeah, that. And then I go, okay, well, what would be the story where that's the moral, or what would be the, the joke where that's the punchline? And then if I find it easier. Otherwise, I feel like I'm building the pyramid backwards. You know what I mean? I don't know. That might have happened from me going to Nashville and writing and getting infected with their way of thinking, Damn, Toby Keith. We're back to Toby Keith. How about another question for Chris?
Do you have a specific songwriting schedule during the day or the week?
Do you have a specific songwriting schedule?
I like to write. If I'm going to do songwriting, I like to do it one of the first things when I wake up in the morning. That way, it's one of the most fun things to do for me. It's just, that's my creative time. I can get into the song. I don't have to worry about my other responsibilities. Whereas if I, try to take care of a bunch of things the first thing in the day, then it doesn't always feel as vital for me to be spending that time working on a song later. I could just go someplace and work on songs for 2 weeks in a row, and as long as I didn't have to do anything else, that could happen. But it's so important for me to not be critical about what I'm doing, and that means I need to recognize that the time I'm spending on it is worthwhile. And if even for a second I'm like, I should be doing this with my time right now, it's gonna yield damaged fruit.
Yeah. You have to be in that part of your brain where you're like a kid playing in the sandbox rather than like, oh, yeah, and I got that dentist appointment, and then, oh, yeah, and this guy wanted me to do that thing. And, man, by 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the good time, the kid time is over.
Yeah.
That email.
Do all the rest of the stuff for the day, and that's totally fine. But first thing in the morning is when I like to do it. And sometimes there'll be a surge midway through the day where I'm like, oh, I want to just take 45 minutes right here and work on a song. And so I try to find little pockets where I can almost trick myself into that kind of creative space and that isolation, even if it's just for a little while. Because to me, there doesn't seem to be any difference in what I can achieve in 45 minutes versus 4.5 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's all very it's valuable to flex those muscles.
Once you're down the rabbit hole, there's no time, there's no space, and there's no, you know what I mean? Sometimes it takes 4 hours to come up with one great line, and other times you can write, Neil, back to Neil, we should talk about Neil twice as much as we talk about Toby Keith as a general rule. You might want to write that down. He wrote, Cinnamon Girl Down by the River and Cowgirl in the Sand all on the same day. And I actually believe him. He said it several times in an interview. It wasn't just a random thing. And so, there's no space and time down there. Have you ever sat with another songwriter and done that co-writing thing?
My experience working with other songwriters has been a handful of people that have wanted me to help them on some pre-production for their albums. And a couple of these artists were really... had really great ideas and knew what they wanted to do. And so that was mainly just listening to their songs with them and saying, maybe restructure this here and there. But another artist, there was more extensive co-writing involved. And I'd say that the most challenging thing is trying, for me and I think for the other artists involved, is if you're co-writing, you have to let go of your ego and understand that you're both trying to achieve the same thing, or however many people are trying to achieve the same thing. It's not about who has just the best idea in a vacuum. It's who has the idea that's going to propel this song in an appealing and meaningful way. And I think that can just derail things in a heartbeat.
Did you find it difficult?
I found that it was really important with the instance of this particular songwriter to allow the individual to explain, or I guess kind of defend the choices that were being made, which to me, it was helpful because then I could steer that commentary into some options that didn't totally erase the impetus of what the songwriter was trying to achieve.
It's a weird thing.
It's a lot more listening than it is doing.
Yeah. I never co-wrote for, the whole time I was coming up, in music and stuff. And then when I got a publishing deal and started writing for a living, the first thing your publisher does is say, okay, you're going to Nashville. I'm like, cool. Why? And they say, because you're going to co-write. It's like, with people I've never met? Ish. But then I grew, and it was very uncomfortable at first, especially with certain people where you walk in, you go, wow, this guy's like an idiot, and I hate him. And that happens. But then I finally wrote with a couple of people. You go down there for a week, and you've got 2 appointments a day. It's probably day 2 or day 3 when I realized I was in the room with a complete genius. And I started getting used to it. And now it's just like, it's just as easy as writing alone for me. And I've written with some people where I've written with some people who are just better songwriters than I'll ever be. But more often I've written with people where they're better at what they do than I am at what they do.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty good at what I do. But I've learned so much. I mean, I've learned a ton from writing with people. Even if their main thing was writing country songs, some of the same rules apply. Have you ever done that thing where, you've gone to other cities and co-written with other like songwriters?
Mm-mm. I haven't.
I think in your case, it would yield some interesting results.
Yeah, I'd definitely be open to it. It's something that maybe in this, in the next couple of years, I'd like to pursue those kinds of things.
It
I
is
just
awkward
feel like it
at
has
first.
to happen organically, at least the first couple times before I start like putting a card out there on bulletin boards all over the place. Like it just seems like if somebody that I know, like for instance maybe Stephen Kellogg or somebody that I've spent some time with is like, hey, let's work on a song together.
Yeah.
Because I need to. I just feel like I need more experience in that realm before
It's weird.
doing
It's
it.
an
But the only way to
inherently
get the
weird thing
experience
to
is by
do.
doing it. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is you just never do anything with the song.
I had one where I literally 10 minutes in, I did the fake, oh my God, my grandma's sick, I have to go. Like a
did?
bad blind date. Yeah, because this guy I was like, dude, this is never going to happen. I won't go into the reasons why, but he said some things in the beginning of the session where I was like, no, deal breaker,
That's all right. That's all right.
It's like if you're on a blind date and you've never met the woman before, and you sit in the restaurant, you're looking at the menu and she says something like, I hate poor people, or just one of those like things that you can't unsay, a deal breaker thing, and you're like, it's game over. And sometimes that happens with songwriting. I had one guy in Nashville say, I used the word night in a song. He's like, oh no, I mean this, we want soccer moms to listen to this song during the day in their car, so if you use the word night, and I'm like, dude, I come from rock and blues and punk. There is no day. We're all vampires. Everything happens at night. And he's just like, huh? So, grandma. But it can be really, really cool, especially if it's someone you don't know. It takes some getting used to. So what's this record that you're working on now that we're cutting for tomorrow? What's that going to be? Is that going to be a Chris Koza record, or is there a different?
It's going to be something different. We haven't titled it yet. And I, as you can tell from the name Catnapping, I'm not too eager to put any of my ideas into that ring.
I think the trademark has run out on Summer of Love, so you can have that.
Hey, Kevin, come to our release show. Summer of Love.
You know who was in Summer of Love? You know Michelle Kinney, the cellist?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was in it. She went along with it. It wasn't just me.
No, it seems like you, as the musical dictator that you are, you have a lot of influence over the people that
No,
you
that
work
was
with.
after that band I became the musical dictator. That's the band that drove
you were
me out of
dictator in
democracy.
training at that
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Yeah, God, we used to butt heads, and now we get along so great. And I look at her and I go, God, what were we fighting about? But at the time, it seemed really important. You guys want to hear another song? Right. Yes, me too. Why don't you give us a little backstory?
Okay. Okay, this is a song that I hope that we record with this new project.
Cool.
It's not a song I've performed before. This is a song that We were driving to Las Vegas, and it's such a long drive from Denver to Las Vegas. You should never do it. But if you are going to do it, you should definitely share a hotel room with 8 people once you get to Las Vegas.
Who hasn't?
Well, preferably you know at least half of them.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a different deal. Go ahead.
But I have this. I didn't know that this was going to be a song that I was going to try recording with this group. At the time, I was composing a lot of music on my iPad. I wanted to use better, make good use of the hours while sitting in the van. So I got this iPad. I'm like, I'm going to make iMovies. I'm going to record all these songs. It's going to be awesome. And so I would do that. Like the first 4 or 5 days, I was totally hell-bent on making all this good time and creative energy. And then after that, it's like, I'm tired. I'm so tired. I just want to eat food because I can't sleep.
One of the other 7 people stole your iPad.
And so this is a song that I created as an instrumental demo first, kind of synthed out, and then I extrapolated the melodic information and the chord structure and turned it into more of a composite song. This is called Finally Las Vegas.
Chasing the sun. What if the remains, these precious few odd days, is all we can count on? Your horses are coming up big, the ocean couldn't hold it all in. Your empire isn't worth anything. It wasn't a lie. It wasn't the whole truth. It is what it is. Of all of the signs, bricks and the spires, this cadence of authenticity will open its arms for you. Your horses are coming up big, the ocean couldn't hold it all in. Your empire isn't worth anything. Like radiation, your dreams crash, no hesitation. Your empire isn't worth anything. Isn't worth anything. Isn't worth anything. It wasn't a lie. Chasing the sun. Oh, isn't worth anything. What if the remains isn't worth anything? Is all we can count on. Isn't worth anything.
That'll be fun to record. I can hear the drums. It's a great drum song, right?
Yeah, I hope that they want to do that one though. That's the only problem when you bring outside songs into a band that's collaborating and creating new stuff together. They're like, I like that, but I want to change all this stuff. I'm like, but I love that song how it is. So we'll
that
see.
would be a fun
We'll see
drum
what
song
happens.
because I mean, it's not like you're just grooving through it. There's a lot of timpani things going on and tom-tom rides, and it seems like a song a drummer would. That's a song a drummer only a drummer could love.
As long as you you manipulate that drummer to realize that they want to record it on their own.
Yeah, right. Make
You
him
can't
think it was
tell
his
him,
idea.
That's a good idea. No, it's not. Oh, it's a terrible idea recording the song. I don't know, man. I think I could figure something out.
I worked with a British record producer named Chris Kimsey. He's a big deal guy, did 6 Rolling Stones albums, and he was the master of that he would make you think it was your idea. You know, we should do this. You know, no. Yeah, we shouldn't do that. No, yeah, we should. That's the best idea you've had all day. And you're just like bathing in this glow of British, you know, approval. And I'm the greatest, you know. I've watched him do it with people in the studio, seasoned professional musicians. It's unbelievable. That's the lesson for the day. Make them think it was their idea. But that takes some humility because so many producers, it's not about the best idea in the room. It's about them having the best idea.
Well, everybody likes it when the stuff that they're working on, spending their time doing, is recognized and considered.
But nobody cares, consumer-wise, whose idea.
Yeah, nobody cares.
I'm doing this new Communist Daughter record, and man, mostly what I've done is nothing. You know what I mean? It's like stay out of the way because they have this thing they do. You know, Johnny had this magic in his basement, his crappy basement studio, and I was like, we have to make sure that we get that magic on this next record. I will give you mics to take to your basement. I don't want to be there, you know, because that's when he does his thing, and it's working out perfectly.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's working out great.
He's a really good songwriter.
He's a really good songwriter and really fun, and everyone in that band is peaking creatively and artistically and technique-wise as well, you know, and they're just like, it's that magic moment in a band. What time is it? How much time do we have? I'm sorry, my dog ate up my 3rd watch band in the last 3 months. Huh? 5-2. You guys have any questions, or should we just make him play? Sing for his supper. They're stunned into silence. Oh, no, there's one.
When you start writing the guitar part of your music, where do you start with that?
Where do you start writing the guitar parts for your music?
It just starts off as a unless I have a riff in mind or something. It just starts off as a general chord bed on the acoustic guitar, and then I'll throughout a demo I'll build up the maybe some of the electric guitar parts, or if there's some more intricate picking things that have to happen. I find that the biggest problem is also the easiest thing to do, and that's just getting started, and just hey man, the G chord's been played about 1 billion times in this world, so there's nothing wrong with it. Might as well write a song to a G chord. I try to write a guitar part and find the right key for the song that will be fun to sing, and I guess a combination of all those things, I hope, creates an answer for you. Yeah.
It starts with picking up the guitar.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care. I may change that chord to a minor the next time around, just to give it a different emotional feel. But I just like starting somewhere. Any other questions? It's been really great. I appreciate everybody here coming today and attending these sessions, because I think it's really cool as an artist to be here and like have people to interact with, and young, hungry minds.
Nobody wants to be lonely.
No.
There's 2 more questions.
Can we ever expect a catnapping reunion?
Do you know
Catnapping reunion?
Oh. I think you should temper your expectations.
That's his very polite way of saying, hell no.
Maybe you'll be surprised one day, but...
Another question in back there?
My question was, have you ever held any songwriting seminars?
Songwriting seminars, have you ever held any?
No seminars, but I've been privileged to be able to do a class for Kevin here at IPR on a couple of occasions, and over at McNally I've done some subbing for people when they're out of town touring or something, and that's probably been the most seminar-like thing that I've done.
And you like it. You seem like...
I love talking about writing songs. I think
Yeah.
it's fun. I would love to go to a place where somebody's a songwriter, and I could just ask them all the questions that I have. I mean, to me that's really fun and interesting. And
We should do that with Toby Keith. What were you thinking when you wrote Beer for My Horses? Were you thinking more about beer or horses? See?
talk about your grandma in Alabama.
Oh my God.
It's that song.
You better cleanse our palates with an original song here before you go.
All right, so I'll do one more song. And I don't think I have any. Oh, my band has a gig coming up in Anoka at the Lyric Arts Theater, June
great
6th.
venue.
It's a cool venue. It's a little theater. We're going to be playing some brand new Rogue Valley songs that have never been played anywhere. And we're also going to be playing some of our favorites off of our 4-album Seasons project.
It's only like a half hour out of the city, and it's a great sounding, really comfortable venue. I love that place.
Yeah, I know you and
cool.
Allison have played there a lot. You play there. So I guess because of that, I'm going to play this new Rogue Valley song. I'm really liking these new songs. And that band has there's a lady vocalist as well. Her name's Linnea Moan. I don't know what to say.
Lady vocalist, please. Room 7.
So she's gonna sing this song, do the lead on it, but she's not here, so I'm gonna do it right now. This song's called Pulse.
The picture on the dashboard, pulling you on. Every season and time zone, depth and direction. Keep that old engine burning until you run out of road. Lay down on the dead rails, steel bones. Feel the spine of the monster, its distant pulse. It's just your imagination, it's taking its toll. Seeing things you don't believe. Don't panic now, it's natural. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh. There's nothing you can't handle, like a loaded gun. Although there's many ways to do things, to you there's only one. The ending will find you, unless you find it first. You will feel you're not yourself. Don't panic now, it's natural. Yeah, you will feel you're not yourself. Don't panic now, it's natural. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Chris Koza,
Hey, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
go see him live.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Kevin.